The night I won $190 million in the lottery, I thought my life had changed. But when I woke up the next morning, I had 37 missed calls from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Uncle James, who I hadn't seen in 10 years, said, "Remember that $5 I lent you?" My fifth cousin, who I couldn't even remember the name of, said, "We bought that ticket together, remember?" And a week later, 14 of them filed lawsuits, all saying, "We helped you buy that ticket." But what none of them knew, I had a plan, a psychological game that would force all of them to confess on camera that they were lying. Sit down, Beatty. Let me tell you something about money and family and what happens when those two things collide. My name is Eve. I'm 58 years old, and 2 years ago, I won $190 million in the Powerball lottery. You'd think that'd be the happiest moment of my life, wouldn't you? Honey, let me tell you something. It was also the loneliest. It started on a Tuesday night, October 17th. I remember because it was raining. I'd just gotten off a double shift at the hospital. My feet were killing me. My back was screaming. I was 56 years old and felt about 80. I stopped at the corner store like I did every week, bought a bottle of water, a bag of chips, and one lottery ticket. Just one. Same numbers I'd been playing for 15 years. My mama's birthday, my daddy's birthday. The day I graduated nursing school, I went home, ate my chips, watched the news, almost fell asleep on the couch. Then the lottery numbers came on. I wasn't really paying attention at first. I was half asleep, remote in my hand. But then I heard the first number, my mama's birth month. I sat up a little. My daddy's birthday. I grabbed my ticket off the coffee table. The day I graduated. My heart started pounding. Mama's birthday. My hands were shaking now. Baby. I don't even remember what that number was for, but it was on my ticket. And then the Powerball. September. The month I became a nurse. I just sat there, staring at the TV, then at my ticket, then back at the TV. All 6 numbers. Perfect match. I'd won $190 million. Now, honey, let me tell you what I did next. I didn't scream, didn't jump up and down, didn't call nobody. I sat there in my quiet little apartment and I cried. Not because I was happy. Well, I was, but that wasn't why I was crying. I was crying because I knew everything was about to change, and not all of it was going to be good. I'd seen it before. People who won the lottery, how their families turned on them, how friends they'd known for years suddenly needed money, how strangers came out of the woodwork with their hands out. I knew what was coming, so I did something smart. I didn't tell nobody, not yet. First, I called a lawyer, a good one. One of them fancy downtown lawyers who charges $500 an hour just to say hello. His name was Marcus Webb. Black man, about 50, sharp as a tack. I told him I'd won, showed him my ticket. He looked at me and said, "Miss Mitchell, do you have family?" "Some," I said. "Are you close?" I laughed. "Not really. Haven't talked to most of them in years." He nodded, like he'd heard this story before. "Then let me tell you what's about to happen," he said. "The minute this news goes public, every person you've ever met is gonna come out of the woodwork. They're gonna say you owe them. They're gonna say they helped you. Some of them might even sue you." "Sue me?" I said. "For what?" "For anything," he said. "Doesn't matter if it's true. They'll make something up, and you'll spend your money fighting them in court instead of enjoying it." I sat back in my chair. "So what do I do?" He smiled. "You let me handle it. But first, we set a trap." "Listen, baby, here's what we did. Marcus helped me set up a trust, put all the money in it. My name wasn't even on it, just the trust. That way, if anybody tried to sue me personally, they couldn't touch the money. Smart, right? But that wasn't the best part. The best part was the plan we came up with to catch all the liars. See, Marcus told me that most lottery lawsuits fail because people can't prove their claims. They say they gave you money for the ticket, but they got no proof. No receipts, no witnesses, nothing. So we decided to make them prove it. We set up a fake mediation, told everyone who was claiming they helped me buy the ticket that we were willing to settle out of court. All they had to do was come to a mediation session, tell their story on camera, and we'd work something out. But here's the trick. We told each person they were the only one claiming the money. We said, "You're the only person who says they helped Miss Mitchell, so we want to hear your story." Then we asked them very specific questions. Questions they couldn't answer if they were lying. And baby, we recorded everything. The news broke 3 weeks after I won. I did the press conference, stood there with the big check, smiled for the cameras, said all the right things about being blessed and humble and grateful. And then the phone calls started. First was my cousin Denise. Hadn't talked to her in 8 years. Not since she borrowed $200 from me and never paid it back. "Eve, oh my God, girl. I'm so happy for you. You deserve this." I played along. "Thank you, Denise." "Listen," she said, and here it comes. "I was thinking, you remember that time I gave you $20 to buy lottery tickets? I think it was about 6 months ago." 6 months ago. I hadn't seen Denise in 8 years. "Oh, really?" I said, sweet as pie. "I don't recall that, but okay." "Yeah, girl. We were at the grocery store together. I said, 'Here, buy us some tickets. I think technically we're partners on this win.'" Partners. I almost laughed. "Well, Denise, if that's true, my lawyer's gonna want to talk to you. He's setting up meetings with everyone who helped me. I'll have him call you." She got real excited. "Oh, perfect. Yes, have him call me." I hung up and shook my head. The calls kept coming. Uncle James, my mama's brother. Hadn't seen him since her funeral 10 years ago. Said he'd given me $5 for the ticket at a family barbecue. There was no family barbecue. My cousin Ray said we'd gone in together on 10 tickets, and this was one of them. I bought my ticket alone at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Ray lives in Texas. My second cousin Monica said she'd lent me $50 last year, specifically for lottery tickets. I'd never even met Monica in person. One by one they called. 14 people total, all with the same story. "I helped you buy that ticket." And one by one, I told them my lawyer would be in touch. The mediation sessions started 2 months later. We rented a conference room in a fancy office building downtown. Set up cameras everywhere. Told folks it was standard procedure for mediations. Marcus sat at the head of the table. I sat next to him. And one by one, they came in. First up was Uncle James. He walked in wearing a suit he probably borrowed. Hair slicked back. Big smile. "Eve, baby, good to see you." I just nodded, didn't smile back. Marcus started. "Mr. James, thank you for coming. We're here to discuss your claim that you provided Miss Mitchell with money to purchase the winning lottery ticket. Can you tell us about that?" James nodded eagerly. Sure. It was at a family barbecue summer of last year. I gave Eve $5 and said, 'Get us some lottery tickets.'" Marcus wrote something down. "What month in summer?" June, I think." "June," Marcus repeated. "And where was this barbecue?" At the park. The one near Eve's place." "Which park?" James hesitated. The big one. What's it called? I don't remember the name." Marcus looked at him. "Mr. James, Ms. Mitchell didn't attend any family barbecue in June of last year. In fact, there was no family barbecue. Ms. Mitchell was working double shifts at the hospital all summer. We have her work schedule right here." He slid a paper across the table. James looked at it. His face went pale. Maybe it was a different month. Was it? Marcus said. Or are you making this up? Baby, you should have seen James's face. He started sweating, stammering. I thought. You thought you'd get some money by lying, Marcus said, calm as can be. Mr. James, you're on camera right now. You have one chance to tell the truth. Did you give Ms. Mitchell any money for a lottery ticket? Long silence. Then James looked down. No, I'm sorry. Can you say that louder for the camera? James looked up, right into the camera. No, I didn't give her no money. I heard she won, and I thought maybe. You thought you'd get a piece of something you didn't earn, Marcus finished. James left quietly. Embarrassed, defeated. Next was Cousin Denise. Same thing. Marcus asked her specific questions. What day was it? What store? What time? What was Eve wearing? She couldn't answer any of them because she wasn't there. I'm confused, Miss Denise, Marcus said. You said you were with Miss Mitchell at the grocery store when you gave her $20. But Miss Mitchell's credit card statement shows she was at that store at 11:07 p.m. on a Tuesday. Were you with her at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday? Denise's eyes got big. Maybe it was a different day. Was it a different day? Or are you lying? Denise started crying. Real tears. I needed the money. My rent is due, and I thought she wouldn't mind sharing. So you lied, Marcus said. Denise nodded, still crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. One by one they came in, and one by one they fell apart under questioning. Cousin Ray couldn't remember which gas station we supposedly bought tickets at together, because we never bought tickets together. Monica couldn't remember when she'd supposedly lent me $50, because she never did. Every single one of them confessed on camera that they'd lied. By the end of the mediations, I had 14 recorded confessions. Marcus sent copies to each of them along with a letter that basically said, if you pursue this lawsuit, we will use this confession against you in court. You will lose, and we will countersue for legal fees and damages. Every single lawsuit was dropped within a week. Now, baby, you might be thinking, Eve, why'd you go through all that trouble? Why not just ignore them? And honey, let me tell you why. Because it wasn't about the money. Not for me anyway. It was about the principle. These people, these family members who hadn't called me in years, who hadn't asked how I was doing, who didn't even come to my mama's funeral. They heard I had money, and suddenly I was their favorite person in the world. And they were willing to lie, to scheme, to take me to court, all for money they didn't earn and didn't deserve. That hurt, not because I was surprised. I knew people could be like that, but because they were family, and family's supposed to be different, supposed to be. You know what's funny though? After all that, after all the lawsuits and the lies and the confessions, there was one person who never asked me for nothing. My neighbor, Mrs. Rosa. She was 82 years old, lived in the apartment next to mine for 15 years. Sweet lady, made the best tamales I ever tasted. The day after the news broke, she knocked on my door. I opened it, expecting another handout, but she just smiled and handed me a plate of tamales. For you, mija, she said. Congratulations. You deserve something good. I started crying right there in the doorway. Mrs. Rosa, is there anything I can do for you? Anything you need? She shook her head. I don't need nothing, baby. I just wanted you to know I'm happy for you. You know what I did? I paid off her mortgage. She didn't ask me to. Didn't even know about it until she got the letter from the bank saying her house was paid in full. She cried. I cried. We ate tamales together. That's what it should be like, you know? Helping people who don't ask, who don't expect, who genuinely care about you, not your money. 2 years later, I'm still getting calls, still getting letters. People I went to elementary school with. People who claim they knew my mama. People who say I owe them because family takes care of family. Dot. But I don't answer. Because I learned something through all this, baby. I learned that real family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who loves you when you got nothing, who's happy for you when you get something, who doesn't ask for nothing but gives you everything. Mrs. Rosa is more family to me than any of those people who sued me. I still play the lottery sometimes. Same numbers. Just for fun now, not out of hope. And I still work at the hospital, 3 days a week. Not because I need the money, but because I need the purpose. I bought myself a nice house. Nothing crazy, just comfortable. With a guest room for Mrs. Rosa when she visits. I travel now. Went to Italy last year. Paris the year before. Places I only dreamed about when I was working double shifts. And you know what? I'm happy. Really, truly happy. Not because of the money. The money's nice, don't get me wrong. But that's not what makes me happy. I'm happy because I protected myself. Because I stood up to people who tried to take advantage of me. Because I learned who really loved me. And baby, that's worth more than $190 million. So let me tell you something, honey. If you ever come into some money, whether it's the lottery or an inheritance or whatever, protect yourself. Get a good lawyer. Set up a trust. Don't tell nobody until you got everything in place. And when people come around with their hands out, and they will, remember this. You don't owe nobody nothing just because they're family. You don't owe them for blood they didn't choose. You don't owe them for help they never gave. You don't owe them for love they never showed. Your blessings are yours. You earned them. You prayed for them. You waited for them. Don't let nobody guilt you into giving away what God gave you. Be wise, be kind, but don't be foolish. Help the people who genuinely need it. The people who loved you before the money. The people who'll love you after it's gone. Those are your real family. The rest, baby, let them go. And one more thing before I go. If you're sitting there thinking, well, Eve should have shared anyway. Family is family. Let me ask you something. Where were they when I was working double shifts? When my lights got cut off because I couldn't pay the bill? When I was eating ramen noodles for dinner 5 nights a week? They weren't nowhere. But they sure showed up when I had something they wanted. So no, I don't feel guilty. I feel free. Free from people who only loved my money, not me. And baby, that freedom, you can't buy that in no lottery. So here's what I want you to remember. Money doesn't change you. It reveals you. And it reveals the people around you too. Real love doesn't come with conditions. It doesn't come with lawsuits. It doesn't come with lies. Real love shows up empty-handed and full-hearted. And when you find that kind of love, hold on to it. Protect it. Cherish it. Because that's the real jackpot right there. Thank you for sitting with me today, baby. I hope my story helps you see things a little clearer when it comes to money and family and what really matters. You are loved, you are worthy, and you don't owe nobody nothing except kindness and truth. God bless you, honey. This is Eve, and I'll see you next time.